Trump edges closer to Biden clash but Haley undaunted, New Hampshire takeaways. The independent vote did not defeat Trump yet could prove crucial, and Williamson and Phillips couldn't stop Biden. The New Hampshire primary, even with its history of unpredictability and free-thinking independents, produced a familiar result on Tuesday: Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. After months of heavy campaigning in the state, the former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley came in second place in the Republican primary. Securing a double-digit win over Haley, Trump nabbed his second decisive victory after the Iowa caucuses a week before. In the Democratic primary, Joe Biden's name wasn't on the ballot after the Democratic National Committee decided to have their first primary in South Carolina in early February. But New Hampshire decided to go ahead with the Democratic primary anyway, and Biden handily won through write-in votes, although the DNC has said that no delegates will be awarded based on the results. The dynamics of the New Hampshire primary, which marked the second voting event of the 2024 election season, also held some insights for the high-stakes general election in November. Here are 5 things you need to know. 1. The independent vote couldn't topple Trump, but it should still make him nervous. New Hampshire is known for its independent voting bloc, which comprises 40% of the electorate. This group has helped numerous presidential candidates rise to the top in past elections, or at least remain competitive. Haley was hoping Republican-leaning independent voters would respond to her tempered messaging, in which she pitched herself as a younger, fresher face and antidote to both Trump and Biden. Although independent voters were not able to lift Haley to victory, their support for her could create a problem down the road for Trump. According to an NBC News exit poll, Haley won 73% of Republican primary voters who described themselves as moderate. If Trump wants to defeat Biden in November, he will need to sway some of those moderate Republicans, and Haley's strong performance with that voting bloc indicates the former president has much more work to do to win their support. 2. Haley remains undaunted after 2 bruising losses. Despite her third-place finish in Iowa and her double-digit loss in New Hampshire, Haley still insists that she will continue on in the Republican primary. As she addressed supporters in New Hampshire on Tuesday night, Haley expressed optimism about her home state of South Carolina, which will hold its Republican primary on the 24th of February. New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation, Haley said. This race is far from over. There are dozens of states left to go, and the next one is my sweet state of South Carolina. But polls show Haley trailing far behind Trump in South Carolina, so it remains unclear how the state might shake the fundamental dynamics of the race. 3. Biden avoided embarrassment with some help from his campaign and surrogates. Because of the strange circumstances of the Democratic primary, Biden's name was not on the ballot, though the names of long-shot candidates Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson were. There was some concern that Biden's decision not to run in New Hampshire could provide an opening for a candidate like Phillips, who tried to present himself as more electable than the sitting president. But in the end, Biden cruised to an easy victory thanks to the help of a write-in campaign led by his most loyal supporters and promoted by surrogates like Congressman R. O'Connor of California, who traveled to New Hampshire over the weekend. 4. Republicans and Democrats appear ready to turn their attention to the general election. New Hampshire provided further evidence that the 2024 general election in November will indeed be a rematch between Biden and Trump, and members of both parties indicated on Tuesday that they are ready to move past the primary. While we work toward November 2024, one thing is increasingly clear today, Julie Chavez Rodriguez, Biden's campaign manager, said on Tuesday. Donald Trump is headed straight into a general election matchup where he'll face the only person to have ever beaten him at the ballot box, Joe Biden. With more and more Republican lawmakers lining up to endorse Trump, the former president's allies called on Haley to withdraw from the race to allow the party to focus on defeating Biden in November. Taylor Budovich, CEO of the pro-Trump super PAC Make America Great Again Inc., said on Tuesday, "It's time for unity, it's time to take the fight to the Democrats, and for Nikki Haley, it's time to drop out." 5. Trump's election lie was not as popular in New Hampshire as it was in Iowa. During the Iowa caucuses, a clear majority of Republican voters said they believe that Trump won the 2020 election, despite all evidence supporting a fair Biden win. In New Hampshire, early exit polling and interviews showed that there was more of an even split among Republicans in that state who believe the false claims about widespread election fraud in the 2020 election and those who do not. As a Haley voter, Patricia Hemingway told The Guardian on Tuesday, I will have to say the January 6th thing was absolutely revolting to me. Nevertheless, Trump leaned into the big lie in his victory speech on Tuesday. We won in 2016. And if you really remember, if you want to play it straight, we also won in 2020, by more, he said. And we did much better in 2020 than we did in 2016.